All right. Welcome, Speed Gaming. Good morning, evening, and afternoon. But a special shout out to those that celebrate Labor Day on this particular Monday. This is your boy LV Cree coming up to you with another hopefully exciting matchup in the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament. With me, one of the people that you think you get tired of hearing, but in reality you really never do. Frico, how you doing this day?
How's it going? Trying to enjoy my Labor Day here. But I figure, you know what, since it is Labor Day, I'll do a little bit of labor, get some commentary going here for another one of our opening round matches in the tournament.
Yeah, and this one is actually our final one in the round one setup. So once we're done with this, we're pretty much done with round one, and we're going to be heading into round two and hopefully maybe some other losers matches that are along the way. So for today's matchup, we got Charlieboy and RenHero. Charlieboy, our organizer of this tournament, and one of our more inclined veterans of the randomizer, and RenHero, also one that's familiar with the randomizer. We should see ourselves a pretty decent matchup. Both of them pretty much breezed through their group stages, and looks like on our ends we aren't actually off.
Oh, that was quick. They just kind of unleashed the floodgates, and here we go. Charlieboy starting in Airman, RenHero, I believe, Quickman. So we'll see if Charlieboy ends up struggling a bit with this Airman stage compared to RenHero having one of the more user-friendly stages to start with.
Well, we can see on Charlieboy's end, in spite of having our dollar store Metroids, they're actually one shot. And Airman, at least for the first half, seems to be pretty friendly in the early stages of this race. Anyway, for those that aren't familiar with the current standings with the randomizer tournament, we have changed a little bit of a few things. Frico, would you like to go over those small little changes?
No, now you're putting me on the spot here. I'm just here to speak the word thing. Changes.
Pretty sure the stuff that we talk about in the tournament are part of the word things that we're apparently contracted to discuss.
Wait, what? You gotta send me a new contract then. That's not part of my terms and conditions here. But, all that aside, the jokes aside, we see the randomized sprites. Charlieboy using Proto Man, RenHero going with the regular Mega Man sprite, and with Charlieboy making it to the boss door, we see Metal Man at the end of the Airman stage, so the bosses and their behaviors are one of the many things that are changed. Another thing we'll see is a random weapon being allocated to the runners. They will not get the Metal Blade by defeating Metal Man. They could get the Time Stopper, could get Leaf Shield. Most of the stages are not random, as well as the movement of Mega Man, or in this case, Proto Man for Charlieboy. I know there's a couple things that I'm not remembering, and hopefully you could help me out here, Creed.
Well, first and foremost, we saw that RenHero fought Airman in Quickman's room, and for his trouble, he actually gets item 2. One of the things that is randomized is the item placement when you defeat a Robot Master, so having item 2 very early is a pretty big benefit to RenHero. As for how the randomizer tournament is set up as far as the rule set, one of the things that's going to be more important is the fact that this is actually a zipless tournament. So as you see RenHero going through Bubble Man, which is one of those stages that you would see do zips, at least using a pause buffer for one of the basic setups, you can see that RenHero is not using it, and using item 2 to quite a bit of interesting benefit, using it underwater, pretty clever on his end. Also, we are hiding stage names, so we have no idea what stages our runners are going to be going into. So, for all we know, we can have Heatman just all of a sudden going first. And yeah, it's going to be a little bit interesting compared to our previous years, as Charlieboy goes into our Quickman room and he's going to fight Airman himself.
Now, to expand on the zips, it is possible to accidentally zip, which, given the rule set, there will be a time penalty assessed to the runner if an accidental zip occurs. So, just to expand on that a little bit, Charlieboy should be finding his item 2 here, and there it is. RenHero making it to the end of the Bubble Man stage, so we'll see what's hiding behind door number 2 for RenHero, and it looks to be Woodman.
We're gonna see what kind of aspects Woodman, because Woodman could be one of the more dangerous fights. But as you can see, one, he's pretty much susceptible to the everyone's susceptible to the Buster, but he's Buster soft weak. There are 4 Robot Masters that have extra susceptibility to the Buster, as RenHero finds Heatman a little early, but luckily item 2 to compensate for later on. But yes, for the Robot Masters, they're going to deal a little bit of extra damage to the Buster. So as you can see, for Woodman, you saw there was about 4 units of damage as compared to the 2. Of course, we are playing this game on quote-unquote easy mode for accessibility for all our players. So right now, we got ourselves a pretty much interesting setup for the time being.
Well, to expand on RenHero being in Heatman stage, you definitely want to have item 2 heading into the stage for the Yoku block section. Which gives me, chills thinking of the match where item 2 was gated behind Heatman stage in every single game of the match, it felt like. Or no, it was behind Crashman in the last game.
Yeah, that previous game was one of those sections where you definitely would like to have heat into, but like I said, it's the randomizer. Item 2 can literally be anywhere. It's just fortunate that it was so early on. RenHero getting a little bit tripped up with some of the Yoku blocks. Hopefully he won't be able to get caught in one of those accidental zipping positions. Heatman is one of those stages where you're definitely prone to some accidental zip occurrences. But he goes through his section fine, probably going to use item 2 for the Yoku blocks, and Charlieboy should have a relatively easy fight with Woodman.
Now, so long as he doesn't get bodied, he should be fine with Woodman. His life is a little low, but there we go. Woodman's out of there. So, RenHero sailing across the lava ocean and the great abyss beyond. Charlieboy chasing RenHero stage to stage, it feels like. As Charlieboy now entering into Heatman stage as RenHero going to find the boss at the end of Heatman stage.
Which we got ourselves a Flashman sighting. Doesn't seem to be particularly Buster soft weak, so it's going to be digging for weaknesses. Of course, weaknesses are randomized, so you can take your chance in finding the weakness, but it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. You can definitely get the information, but you can definitely waste time if the weakness is not there. But RenHero was able to beat Flashman quick enough, and we're going to be moving on with a vanilla item 1 find in Heatman stage. So, for the most part, we are well. Speaking of that, I was just about to talk about the guy.
Yeah, we're seeing the 2 generally problematic stages showing up a little early here. Charlieboy and RenHero both adapting a very similar strategy to how they're approaching the selection stage. So I would think Charlieboy is going to find his way into this stage after Heatman being completed. So we'll see if RenHero has much of a problem. But with item 1 and item 2 in hand, this particular section that RenHero is in goes significantly faster than what we saw a couple days ago. And Charlieboy actually opting out of using item 2 here, jumping through the Yoku blocks.
Deciding to take things a little bit safe, probably because he used item 2 a little bit earlier to try to ignore the first screen of Yoku blocks and just want to make sure he has just enough distance and enough time to make that item 2 fly safely. In the meanwhile, we see RenHero utilizing item 1 to full effect. One of the things that is randomized among the items is item 1. Item 1 is the only item that has a randomized attribute. Its duration time, its height, its speed, all of it's randomized, while items 2 and 3, they are not random for the sake of game completion, because of course, with stages like the Wily stages, obviously, you might not be able to beat those stages if items 2 or 3 are randomized to an extent where you can't really continue those stages.
Yeah, it would be difficult to get past the spikes in Wily 2 if you don't have a item 2 that lasts long enough to make it across that gap. Item 3 is that climb in, I want to say, is it Wily 3 or Wily 4? I'm going blank here. I'm being an old man, unfortunately.
Well, Wily 2 is definitely the stage where items 2 and 3 can be a little bit of a problematic issue if those are randomized. Of course, you can have item 1 being maybe good enough to make that final climb before getting to the Pico units. The problem is with item 1 being randomized and being capable of being stationary, as RenHero decimates a vanilla finding Crashman, Crash and Crash. But yeah, item 1 potentially being stationary could just lead to some soft locking potential if item 3 winds up being completely wonky. So gotta keep those things in mind when figuring out randomized settings.
Yeah, oh, we see Charlieboy here, getting knocked off by a fat fan on the bottom part of the screen. But one of the things you can see with the birds that have the eggs, if you are facing left, then those birds will spawn from the left side. If you're looking to the right, they'll spawn from the right. So Charlie using his item 2, before the fan fiend shows up, hoping to sail across with the birds coming from the left, not able to knock him off.
Finally, Heatman and Flash stage, H-Bison going full rapid fire with high speed heat tackles, but he's very soft beat to the buster, so pretty much a simplistic and easy fight on his end, while RenHero gets a little bit sniped from above with the gear by just pretty much canceling his flight on the item 2, just knocking him right off.
A little unfortunate for RenHero there, but now we're going to see Charlieboy into the Crashman stage, so we'll see how well he's able to deal with this. I would figure, given what he's got to work with, this Crash stage should not be much of an issue, but you never know. It is the randomizer, and stuff goes wrong every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't want to make this stage a pretty much a snap. You saw how it was effective for RenHero. It should be equally as effective for Charlieboy. Speaking of RenHero finding Bubble Man a little bit of a health deficit, but while he used those E-tanks, is pretty much back into the fray fighting Bubble Man here.
Oh, finding the metal blade, so Bubble Man just jumping up and down into a constant barrage of metal blades. So RenHero able to make it through the stage, equaling things up for the most part, now into the Airman stage Charlieboy started with.
Metal Blade not being a specific weakness for Bubble, but the fact that it goes in multiple directions and, you know, actually hits him, not a bad find. Could make the things a little easier, but RenHero having item 2 for Airman stage, it not decided to jump up and once again just getting sniped from above. Kind of a bit of a unfortunate drop right there, Ren.
I think he went for a pause buffer, but the item 2 actually counterfeited him. It was still on the screen, so he could not access the pause menu.
Yeah, whenever anything is on screen, an extra sprite, mostly a weapon or item on the screen, you cannot pause. So pause buffering is pretty much null and void as long as something is on screen. Pretty much cost RenHero if that was indeed what he was going for. Meanwhile, Charlie Boy is about to fight his vanilla crash sighting, and I remember him being pretty much soft weak to the Buster, so yep, this is going to be a pretty easy fight for Charlie Boy. And I'll probably say thanks to that death from RenHero in air stage, Charlie Boy should have a little bit of an advantage, but we still got quite a bit of randomizer to go.
I think it is safe to say that Charlie Boy is ahead. RenHero still has... well, they have one stage in common, but I think it's going to take RenHero a little bit longer to finish the Flashman stage after this Airman stage compared to Charlie Boy finishing off this Metalman stage.
RenHero finding that the Buster is not, well, the Mega Buster is not doing that much damage, but he finds Charged Heat to do quite a bit of damage. So pretty much some more information for RenHero as far as weaknesses find. But probably a little bit of a trivia note as far as weaknesses go. Atomic Fire is actually weak on 2 Robot Masters. However, one of them is a bit of a red herring weakness. Every Robot Master has a specific weakness, but the thing about Atomic Fire is you would like to find one weakness for Atomic Fire, because the thing about Atomic Fire is if you have 2 bosses that are weak to it, that's gonna cause a little bit of issue as far as ammo consumption, and for Wily stages that can be really huge considering that you have no idea what the Wily boss weaknesses are. So that's probably one of the things you got to keep in mind when finding about weaknesses. As Charlie Boy is making short work of Metal Man stage, it should make just a short work of Bubble Man.
Yeah, there we go. Charlie Boy's getting him out of there. So with Woodman, the common stage between them, we're going to look at 1535 for Charlie Boy to get into the Woodman stage. So we can compare that with when RenHero gets into the Woodman stage, which should be around 16 minutes. So let's say 30 seconds or so time advantage for Charlie Boy at minimum. RenHero getting held up a little bit by the Fan Fiends. And it looks like, RenHero taking a shot at the crash wall while he had the opportunity. So removing one of the possibilities of what the crash walls could be vulnerable for.
So we got Charlie Boy taking on our hard dog. Looked like he was sticking with Metal Blades to take them out as quickly as possible. RenHero taking another death to Heat Man. These deaths are starting to pile up and tack on time as Charlie Boy is literally just breezing along this particular rando C, more than likely extending his lead as RenHero does find that the Buster is a good weakness for Heat Man. Just got to get those last couple of hits.
The positioning isn't the greatest for RenHero, but execution aside, he's through, and unfortunately that gap is widened to a little over a minute and a half at this point for RenHero taking that death. So Charlie Boy with a pretty significant advantage heading into the back end of the Woodman stage as RenHero's just beginning.
Charlie Boy clearing out the Joe Treehouse fan club, and gonna use the rest of his item to just pretty much, well, assume a bat doesn't even plug him out of the sky. Okay, so he's pretty much safe along the rest of Woodman stage. About to find out our last Robot Master in said Wood Room. And we have ourselves our final Robot Master in Quickman, and gonna be searching for weaknesses. He's gonna stick with... Nope, he's gonna change weapons. I thought he was gonna stick... Well, he is gonna stick with Metal Blades.
Yeah, he wanted to go for the safety sludge. He was down to the point where one hit would have taken him out, and Charlie Boy just going back to the Buster to finish him off. So, that's 8 Robot Masters down for Charlieboy. RenHero on his way.
Alright, so that lovable siren that we're hitting shows us one of the, if not the best eyebrows in video gaming. It's time for the Wily stages, so of course that means we get to play our favoriteest game in the whole wide world. So of course, the Mecha Dragon is one of the randomized things that is in the randomizer. He has a randomized color. He also has a randomized weakness. For you, Chad, the name of the game is, as always, guess the color of that Mecha Dragon, and as always, for extra credit, guess that weakness as well. And I think I'll start us off for this particular shindig. I've been seeing a good amount of grays as of recently. I'm gonna stick with that as one of my usual go-tos. But as for the weakness, I'm gonna see if we're gonna have a crash bomb sighting for our Mecha Dragon this go around. So Frico, you're up.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with... Let's see, orange is one of the colors it could be, right? I'm going orange. And, well, I think it's public knowledge at this point that I favor the bubble lead as my preferred weakness for the dragon, so... Orange, bubble lead, let's have it, game. Prove me right.
RenHero taking out Quickman. Looks like the leaf shield is a secondary weakness, so that's some potential information that he'll find for later in the refights. But RenHero's now finally on his way to Wally 1 himself, but Charlieboy, pretty much thanks to RenHero's miscues, already after Mecha Dragon, pretty much has himself a definite lead, and we're about to see how our lovely dragon is gonna be just a few seconds now.
Ooh, okay.
That is mostly a blue dragon. I won't take credit for that little gray belly though. I want most of the dragon being gray. But it's definitely not Crash Bomb, so I'm out of it.
Yeah, if you took credit for the gray, I'd be taking credit for those accents, and it looks like the air shooter just absolutely dumpstering the dragon.
So Charlieboy out of Wally 1, RenHero basically starting Wally 1. We're gonna see how Wally 2 acts for Charlieboy, as he's probably gonna take some of those weapon capsules so he can fill up those item 2, so he can make this fly that we were talking about earlier. Like we said, item 2 is not one of the things that are randomized. We actually would like to fly over these spots to complete the game after all.
Wait, that's actually a thing a runner wants to do? What
apparently
nonsense is that?
Apparently, rumor has it.
Well, Charlieboy's actually not picking up all of those small item energy pickups, saving a little bit of time hopping through there. Here we go. He's going to pick up the big one, though.
Yeah, not only that, he also decides to forego checking the walls in Wally 2, which is Charlieboy's usual stick. He usually likes to find weaknesses for the walls at the same time for fighting blue beams. But of course, that's gonna be a little bit risky. He's gonna be under fire while finding the wall weaknesses. But it does save a little bit of time, so you don't have to worry about digging for stuff while he could just move on to our Pico boss, our lovable toaster units. So we're gonna see if it's Buster. Nope, it's not Buster. He's gonna check air. We're doing some weakness on it, and oh my goodness, my heart is swelling.
Alright, well, this is about as close to a coffee break as you're gonna get for Charlieboy. Just gonna hang out in his little spot there, let the leaf shield do most of the work. And RenHero unfortunately eliminating the bubble lead from possibility.
Charlieboy is in a bit of a health deficit, but he manages health long enough to just, let the toasters just plow straight into the leaf shield with complete reckless abandon. And Charlieboy heading out into Wally 3, RenHero also using air shooter, absolutely destroying the dragon as he begins Wally 2.
And so about a full stage advantage now for Charlieboy. So Wily 3 should go fairly quickly for Charlieboy. Ooh, that jump... alright. So a little worried that jump might not have been long enough to make it to the next pillar.
That jump wasn't.
Yeah. For those that are not aware, spikes are bad.
Very bad, as we're so been told. But yeah, he definitely want to be a little careful on Wily 3. Wily 3, while it's one of the most straightforward, can be one of the most dangerous if the randomized enemy set could deal a little bit of a curveball, especially with enemies like the drills, moles, or the ever-present fat fiends, the fan fiends, and you pretty much have yourself a spike drop or a pitfall in the near future. But our enemies were actually a little more kinder than usual. Chanky Maker along the way, just slowing things down a bit, but overall, once again, a pretty straightforward Wally 3 as he approached the Gust Tank. RenHero not too far from the Pico Pico units himself. So let's see how our Gust Tank's gonna be faring. Pretty much repping a little bit of a Joker set and is Buster Week.
Ay, that was a pretty free fight there. RenHero finding the Leaf Shield straight away, so RenHero going to make up a little bit of time here just by the unforced error made by Charlieboy in Wily 3, so we might see about a minute deficit coming out of Wily 3 and into Wily 4 for the runners. Maybe a little bit more. RenHero, the eye test, he's behind. He's got to do something to speed things up a little bit. Charlieboy would have to make a mistake at this point to really have RenHero back into the race.
Well, Wally 4 is definitely a stage that can definitely swing the tides back in RenHero's favor if the anxiety runes are beneficial. Right now, once again, it's looking like a rush home. Only just a hermit crowd in the first room, but we're going to see how the room after this particular one for Charlieboy is, if it's going to be a little more devious or not. Using the rest of his item 1 to make a little bit of a shortcut to ignore those moving platforms, and yeah, not much anxiety in these rooms. So Charlieboy should have pretty much free reign before he goes to his boobing fight.
Yeah, the Great Equalizer not really being much of an issue this time around. Ooh, Joe Armor's showing up in the last area. Oh, Charlie getting bailed out.
Yeah, pretty much showing up in their vanilla spots, no less. So Charlieboy just making his final headway towards the booming cannons. Take note, he does not know the wall weakness, so he's going to need to take a little bit of time to see what the wall weaknesses are. But if the boobies is one of our god weaknesses, he might not need to destroy these walls, but he's taking his time to check on the walls. And
it doesn't look like Metal Blade nor the Leaf Shield. Quick Boomerang, Bubble, nope. Leaf Shield, that looks like everything at this point. Charlieboy trying to pause buffer his way through the shot. Ooh, charged heat for the walls.
It's sensible to charge heat. He kind of failed to utilize a particular strategy, as we find bubbles to be our Picotory weakness. If you come in with a charge heat and come into the door, the charge heat will automatically fire as you're entering the door, and if it one-shots, you can actually automatically rule that wall weakness, unless he happens to be a two-shotter. But that could have been information that could have saved Charlieboy a little bit of extra time. But regardless of the matter, the blue beans are out, and he's the first in our refights, where we're gonna have a little Sills Airman ditty for our refights.
Alright, so here we go. Charlieboy into the refights. RenHero doesn't look like he's able to set up the item 2 to get across the top part, gonna opt for item 1 instead, and bonking off the snail, so losing a little bit of time from an execution standpoint, RenHero is.
I don't think RenHero actually knows the setup. If he did, he probably would have done it immediately. So it's more probably of a comfort issue as he's choosing not to do item 2 as opposed to do the item 1 strats in the final room of the, well, second to last platforming room. Well, regardless, we have RenHero checking up on the weaknesses for the booming turrets as he, as Charlieboy is still pretty much just taking out Robot Master after Robot Master on his 5th one. So right now, once again, it seems like Charlieboy is pretty much on the forefront and pretty much has a good headway and probably has a very, very high probability of being our winner in this first of the best of 3.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Charlieboy is going to have to pretty much, you know, decide that, oh, well, I just need to go to the bathroom in the middle of this run, or something like that. Charlieboy gonna resign himself to taking a death here, trading an extra life for an E-Tank, making sure he has it for the Wily machine, just in case. So, not a bad trade here for Charlieboy. I would have made that trade irrelevant of knowing where I am in the race. But you know what? At the end of the day, Charlieboy's on number 7, where RenHero, I believe, is on his first Robot Master.
Actually, the resigning of his fate is actually a little bit more important than we realize. Charlieboy is actually out of E-Tanks. So this could actually mean quite a bit if we have a particular situation with the Wily machine, but you know how the randomizer is. The odds of that is we're kind of
the odds are not likely, especially with me doing commentary, but you know what? It could end up working against Charlieboy, and we will find out right now.
The thing about the Wily machine is, well...
Oh! Hello! Okay. Charlieboy found the first weakness straight away. It was not a Buster weak. So now Charlieboy's got to hunt for a weakness on the second half of the Wily machine. Oh, air shooter. Okay.
Oh, back-to-back air shooters. Air shooter had a potential to be locked out for the second phase, as sometimes the weakness from the first phase is not the weakness for the second phase. So Charlieboy got really lucky that the air shooter is susceptible for both phases, and it was a very solid air shooter as well. 3 tornadoes, all of them coming out pretty fast. Yeah, it was a really good weakness. So, of course, not to steal your thunder, Frigo, but of course we got Charlieboy going to Victory Road here on our way to our alien in what should be a pretty easy win for Charlieboy unless some natural disaster happens.
Well, Charlieboy did take out his insurance. One of the things that absolutely drives me crazy is a runner going to the left in Victory Road and taking the item energy for a random weapon. It's best to just go, okay, I go hunt for what item it is, and if I run out of energy, I'll take the L against the alien. But it looks like Charlieboy should be good here with the bubble lead.
A vanilla weakness for basically vanilla boss, and Charlieboy has finished first place in our best of 3 with official SRL time of 32 minutes and 23 seconds. GG's for Charlieboy. Good luck, RenHero, for finding our weaknesses, as he finds the unfortunate news that, yeah, this time we actually do have a Buster immune Wily machine.
Oh, this one's a rough one, that's for sure. And RenHero finding the crash bomb, it looks like, for phase 1.
And it's actually a pretty solid crash bomb as well. One of the randomized attributes of crash is the fact that it has a random explosion duration. And just like that, the crash bomb also being one of our weaknesses that carries over between phases. So we got some pretty good finds between air shooter and crash bombs for the Wily Machine weakness.
Yeah, that's a good find, but unfortunately for RenHero, a little too late. I think he does have the bad news that he will be down a game going into game number 2, but you know what? At this point, finish it out. You know, finish strong. Try to get a little bit of positive momentum going for game number 2. So RenHero gonna finish things out. And to that, the winner of this match will be facing Kamasenin in their next round, where the loser, I believe, gets a date with the Daggett.
We got RenHero searching the weaknesses, finds Bubble. Got to be careful, he's low on Bubble, but it seems like Bubble's doing quite a bit of damage, and there you go. RenHero finishing in second place, 34 minutes and 23 seconds, so literally 2 minutes apart from each other. But of course, that still doesn't take care of Charlieboy, as Charlieboy does win match 1 for our best of 3 matchup in our final round 1 in the bracket phases.
Yeah, alright, now let's, do a little autopsy on that game. If RenHero were clean, not taking a death in the Airman stage, I think he took one more death, somewhere along the way in the middle of a stage. Does that put RenHero on a competitive pace with Charlieboy, or did Charlieboy just stay clean and still out-execute RenHero?
That's actually a good question, because the thing, RenHero took quite a number of unfortunate deaths. And while Charlieboy had made a few mistakes or two, Charlieboy's mistakes were relatively minor compared to RenHero's. So it was definitely a case of the cleaner player wins the race. So for RenHero to try to come back and try to even up this series, he's gonna need to play cleaner, and he's definitely capable of doing so. But of course, that still leaves the problem of Charlieboy need to be just as sloppy.
Very true. I guess where I'm trying to go is this kind of Charlieboy's race to win, or does RenHero have the tools in the kit, as it were, to put a compelling argument up and say, all right, no, I'm going to out-execute you in game 2. Yeah, I made a couple mistakes in game 1, but you know what? I'm just going to do better and flat out just win game 2 because I'm just the better runner between the two.
Well, I will probably give Charlieboy the advantage in as far as execution, but RenHero is capable. He can definitely sneak in a victory or two if things fall in his favor. And of course, with the rule set being hidden robot master names, zipless, all it could take is just one unfortunate stage selection error or one unfortunate error in execution that could lead to a death, and RenHero could easily just win the day, and he could definitely do it in match 2. So we're gonna see what happens as RenHero and Charlieboy get set up for the next race. So it's gonna be interesting to see how these two fare after race 1 doing what race 1 did what it did.
Yeah, very true. It looks like both of the runners are just chomping at the bit, going, all right, I don't need any time. Let's get this going. Mr. Stone coming up with a rather creative summation of the game. Jalico presenting Mega Man A New Hope, as we did see the opening scroll for Star Wars, another one of the randomized elements.
Well, apparently it was the better of the trilogy. I heard the remaining trilogies weren't all that good.
Depends on point of view.
True,
You know,
true.
it depends on what you look for in a movie. You know, it not to derail things, but I would say the original trilogy, between movie 1 to movie 3, is definitely the most solid of the group. But here we go, our runners are underway. RenHero finding Airman, Charlieboy Woodman. So, RenHero opting out of the Airman stage and finding an equally difficult stage potentially to start on.
So that's information for RenHero, but we pretty much got ourselves an even start. Well, even-ish, thanks to RenHero resetting. But yeah, both our runners going for Woodman first, and finding that our monkeys are not of the friendly flying sort.
Well, unfortunately, the trees seem to block the transporter, so no beaming back to the mothership for the space monkeys. But we see the runners in the same exact screen, pretty much. Charlieboy trying to evade and survive, and that's not too conducive to evading and surviving. Charlieboy noping out of the Woodman stage.
We got ourselves a bit of a trade-off. RenHero finding Airman, choosing to go to Woodman. Charlieboy finding that Woodman not being as kind as he wanted it to be. Once I'm finding Airman, we literally just did a whole wraparound.
Well, unfortunately, it cost Charlieboy a minute longer because, for whatever reason, Charlie did not buster away the space monkeys like RenHero did. So their approach to that Woodman opening section, you know, this gives RenHero a minute lead right out of the chute. Charlieboy, you know, giving back the 6 seconds that RenHero used up by resetting off of Airman with a pretty big lump of interest there.
Finding Metal Man in Woodman's room, this is exactly what we were just talking about. All we just need is the randomizer, the stage selections, the execution. If Charlieboy winds up faltering in any one of these situations, as far as luck and execution, and right now RenHero has the advantage. So right now we got RenHero, a robot master down, while Charlieboy has struggled between 2 stages so far already.
Yeah, Charlieboy finding the bad news of a fan fiend, and I think that may have deposited him into the abyss. Unfortunately, I didn't see what knocked him in there the first time around, but I definitely heard it. The Charlieboy getting the benefit of some large energy pickups here. So a little bit of help for Charlieboy.
I want to say it was a bird that plucked him from the skies, but no situation.
No sooner do you say it than it almost happens again, and I see exactly the same spot. Charlieboy, oh man, just getting. At least he was ready for it that time, but finding his nemesis in the Woodman stage, manifesting himself in the boss. Woodman,
doing a bit of a manipulation on Woodman, in the fact that whenever Woodman is in the air, if you actually pause while he's in the air, he'll actually do another jump. So use that to his advantage. He wants to make sure he doesn't activate his shield immediately, or let the leaves fall, because the leaves falling and disappearing from the screen is actually the trigger for the respawning of the leaf shield, and just wants to keep Woodman at bay as much as possible, as we find Heatman once again in a flash room.
Yeah, RenHero actually made a small platforming error. At least it did not deposit him into the abyss, actually missing the jump right before the boss gate. So, a little bit of an unforced error from RenHero's side, although still through to the end of the stage. So Flashman and Woodman down for RenHero. Charlieboy working on Metalman stage after struggling mightily through Woodman and then Crashman, only able to, or excuse me, Woodman and Airman.
Unfortunately, the luck kind of ends there for RenHero as we find Crashman a little earlier than expected. RenHero having 0 items, Charlieboy finding item 3 in air for the record. But yeah, Crashman stage with no items is not a particularly fun picnic. Fortunately, it seems like the enemies that are going to be in this particular section where RenHero is on now is going to be particularly friendly. For the first screens of Crash, you're normally going to see the enemies that are in here are the exact same as those that you see in the first screen of Crash. So if you got that information, you know what you're going to be up against. As we see a Buster Soft Weak Flash on Charlieboy's end, which he eliminates pretty much quickly.
And now here's the problem for RenHero. He has to take the elevator of shame here, while Charlieboy, he is a minute behind from taking the reset early on. But some of that time is just getting eroded away. Charlieboy's going to be able to use at minimum an item 2 to help him out in that elevator section where RenHero basically had no choice but to sacrifice about 30 seconds to have the elevator ride all the way through that loop.
Yeah, not only that, with item 3 also being found on Charlieboy, this crash climb is going to be a little bit slower on his end as well. So Charlieboy is more than likely going to make quite a bit of time overall in Crashman stage as compared to RenHero, but he's still got quite a bit of a deficit thanks to those Woodman and Airman miscues. So we're going to see how this time winds up canceling each other out, as RenHero's this Met is just being a master gatekeeper.
Yeah, thou shall not pass. Ay. So RenHero also, unfortunately, going to have to pass up that E-Tank. Oh, boy. Otherwise, he would have to do that whole loop again, no item 1 or item 2, to get him back up on the platform to continue on to the end of the Crashman stage. Charlieboy just having a go at Heatman straight up. Ooh, trapping himself. Ooh, okay. That was a little closer than it needed to be. But RenHero depositing Bubbleman into the dumpster. Charlieboy equalizing things out here. I believe 3 stages complete for both of our runners.
Yeah, Charlieboy having the presence of mind that the actual atomic fire shots deal much less damage than Heatman himself. While Charlieboy thinks he's doing a smart thing with the time stopper here, the problem with that is the monkey's hitbox are still active even while they're invisible. So, an interesting idea. Unfortunately, it kind of backfired in Charlie's face, and now he's kind of at a health deficit. Probably should consider taking a E-Tank just in case these hot dogs wind up being a little bit on the sneaky side.
Well, this is where he got sniped last time around. Charlieboy able to make it through the second hot dog. We'll see if he can manage the third as well, and it's out of there. So Charlieboy at least getting to the checkpoint this time around. So even though not the most effective strategy for making it through our Space Monkeys in the first section, he made it through, and that's half the battle here for Charlieboy. I'm not sure why he didn't just use the Buster, but maybe something, tipped Charlie off that the Buster wasn't going to be effective, but it worked just fine for Ren here.
Well, RenHero pretty much going through the rest of Quickman stage, not ignoring RenHero's progress. He's about to fight whoever's in Quickman's room in a quick moment. And our Robot Master in this room right now is we have found a Crash sighting. So let's see how Crashman acts in this room. He's a jumpy boy, so he's pretty much vanilla-ish. He's definitely not Buster Soft weak, and he's not taking anything from Bubble. So the weakness is going to continue on as Charlieboy makes proper use of item 2 to get by the rest of Woodman. Meanwhile, Crashman dealing the finishing blow on RenHero on his first attempt.
Yeah, RenHero deciding to trade off a life instead of a E-Tank as... Ooh, that Crash Bomb did like 3/4 of Crash's health bar worth of damage. Wow!
That's definitely an ultimate weakness find. For those that aren't familiar with some of the things in the randomizer, there are 2 special types of weaknesses: a great weakness and an ultimate weakness. Those are the highest dealing damage that you can give a Robot Master for a given weapon, as Charlieboy goes to Bubble after going through his previous Robot Master. So for wait to interrupt my spiel, Charlieboy.
I think you're supposed to get to the end of this section, but it looks like Charlie, for whatever reason, has decided, I'm gonna take a game over here, and just... He didn't nope out of the stage, so... I guess taking the unfortunate fall with the item 2, he just noped out of the stage to refill the item 2 for this particular area. Interesting strategy, but again, Charlieboy making a couple mistakes so far in this second game that we did not see him make in the first one. So RenHero with a definitive advantage, you know, in the execution department. Sure, RenHero's made the mistakes as well, but relatively minor compared to the mistakes Charlieboy is making in Game 2.
So once again, we find Flash in Metal. We know that is a Buster Soft weak Flash, so this should be a relatively quick fight for RenHero. As to continue, as I was talking about with ultimate and great weaknesses, I was saying that there are 2 special types of weaknesses in which a specific weapon for a specific Robot Master can deal an immense amount of damage. For great weakness, as far as the current difficulty is, it deals 14 units of damage on maximum, while ultimate weaknesses does 20 on maximum. I mean, yeah, it should be 20 on maximum. So you basically get about 2 shots as far as easy mode settings if you find those weaknesses. So Crash on Crash was definitely an ultimate weakness strength fight for him, so it's a good fight for the refights if RenHero can remember. So we got RenHero in Heat. Fortunately, he finds item 2 early. Meanwhile, we got Quickman in Bubbleman's room, and of course Bubbleman also susceptible to the underwater physics.
Well, at this point, Bubbleman either has item 1 or item 1 is gated behind Heatman. Oh, there it is. So Heatman being a little generous this match, not gating any of the items, but RenHero, ooh, Fan Devils in the second half of Heatman. Bubble Lead's not going to help. Ooh, quick boomerang. Alright.
Well, Crib Boomerang done what it needed to do at that current moment, but he decided to go back to the Buster. But fortunately, at least he does have item 2 that he could use to help with platforming. But looks like he's going to decide to hopefully find a wall weakness and make his life a little bit easier. It's not Crash. Wisely using Flash as a deterrent to help with the air currents, and gonna hopefully make his way out of Heatman stays a little more safely. Meanwhile, Charlie Boy making absolute quick work with what we talked about before in comparison to RenHero with items 2 and item 1 in his disposal. Crash is going to be a much shorter stage for Charlie Boy as opposed to RenHero.
Well, RenHero's a little confused as to how he actually gets across this section. And, oh no. Alright, well, looks like he got past the pit, so now it's just a matter of timing the jump correctly. Alright, there we go. So, RenHero getting puzzled by the configuration of the Fan Fiends. Charlie Boy just opting to actually go up the left side. I don't see this often. But the Met still playing Gatekeeper, knocking Charlie Boy back down.
Probably unsure about his E-Tank situation, so he decides to go on to the left and get the E-Tank, which is technically a faster method if the enemies were kinder, which they kind of weren't.
No, not this time around. That Met of all things gave both of our runners fits. So RenHero across the lava ocean and into the great abyss beyond, into the boss door. So Heatman and Crashman about to be down for RenHero. Charlie Boy finishing off Crashman.
So we have an Airman sighting in Heat, and it's not a bunch too weak Airman, so this is going to be a little bit of a hassle. Airman, one of the more troublesome robot masters to deal with because his air shooters are actually in randomized positions, and for the most part, they usually are not in favorable positions. And this is definitely not an air bro. All the tornadoes are pretty much shielding him the entire fight, and RenHero is just pretty much struggling to find gaps in the tornadoes to get any kind of shots.
Well, Airman was also having absolutely none of it when it came to all of these weapons that were being tried by RenHero. Airman just going, nope, no, try again. And it ended up having to go back to the Buster to finish it out. So RenHero onto Bubble Man with Airman remaining. Oh no. RenHero taking a death to a Shotman.
Shotman in Bubble Man stage, especially in specific spots like the one RenHero fell victim to, is one of the most dangerous and trolly areas you can actually see in the randomizer. It got Charlie Boy when he was flying over the jet, it got RenHero now. So yeah, Shotman getting his paycheck this rando seed.
Yeah, the Mets and Shotman causing all kinds of havoc in various stages for the runners in this seed. Fan Fiends as well, causing RenHero a great deal of difficulty. I think Charlie Boy might have a little bit more success with using item 1, but we'll see. Charlie Boy's going to end up in that Heatman stage, while RenHero still has Airman to go, and it looks like Charlie Boy may have had a bit of a role reversal here, with RenHero losing a bunch of time in that Heatman stage.
Well, Charlie Boy does lose a bit of time sticking with Buster for Crash, while once again we got RenHero with the weakness information on that Crash does immense damage, so this could wind up being one of the tide turners as we go into at least as far as the refights. RenHero using item 2 to hopefully fly over just about everything for the last bit of bubble before his fight with Quickman in Bubble Room.
Yeah, so RenHero does make it to the boss door. Charlie Boy relatively clean through the first section of Heatman, so the race is on, with RenHero needing to finish Airman's stage completely, while Charlie Boy, I was about to say, making it through the first half, but mistiming a jump, losing a little bit of time, but Charlie Boy into the back half, of the Heatman stage, getting the bad news that he's going to have to deal with some fan fiend. So we'll see how he's able to manage this section, having the benefit of item 1.
We're using item 1 to great effect, but I'm about to say that pause might. I don't know if it would have helped him or saved him, but he's also getting better. He has I was about to say he had no E tanks if he takes another hit, but a fortunate weapon drop, a health drop on Charlieboy, literally saving him from certain disaster. While RenHero hoping to use item 2 to fly the first half of Airman stage, getting his wings clipped and have to go the rest of the first half on foot. But right now, Charlieboy's having just as much issue on Heatman as RenHero's having, and he's digging for the wall weakness while he's waiting. So it's a little bit of a give and take between these two to see who's going to be the first one to get out of their final Robot Master stage and into the Wily stages.
Well, it looks like Charlieboy has made it through the obstacle that gave RenHero no end of fits. So Charlieboy about to sail the lava seas. RenHero about to make it to the boss door at the end of the Airman stage as well. A couple more platforms to go for RenHero, as Charlieboy just going to need to finish the drop. So Charlieboy actually making it to the boss door first, a little bit of a surprise. So RenHero slightly behind at this point.
But we got to see how Charlieboy deals with this fight, and he has no E-tanks, so a couple of bad hits can set him back. And right now, we're basically Robot Master versus Robot Master. Both of them really doing their final Robot Masters at the exact same time.
Yeah, this is basically a dead heat at this point. RenHero does have the advantage of having 2 E-tanks, where Charlieboy unfortunately does not have any. However, Charlieboy is through to Dr. Wily a little bit before RenHero. I'm not sure why RenHero's looking for weaknesses here, but finding the Crash Bomb again.
Well, since Woodman is one of our not-so-Buster Soft weak enemies, and he's one of the slower fights, you probably definitely would like to find weaknesses for that fight. But that's neither here nor there. Both of our runners about to go to the Wily stages, seeing those fantastic eyebrows, which are the best in gaming. And once again, everyone, you know what time it is. It's time to play our game for SpeedGaming. So once again, we got a randomized color and a randomized weakness for the Mega Dragon. Everyone, you know what to do. Get those guesses in for what color is the Mega Dragon, was the weakness for the Mega Dragon, and Frico, the floor is yours.
Alright, so my early polling is telling me it's going to be a pink and purple dragon. And to a fault, I will stick with the bubble lead for that weapon week.
And I'm going with my favorite second half. My second favorite go-to. We're going True Blue, a blue dragon with a Buster weakness.
Alright. So we'll see how right or how wrong we are with the dragon weakness. I'm not too thrilled about the purple with the purple background. You know, a little bit of a fashion nightmare going on here in the Wily 1 stage, if that's to be the case. But we will see. Uh-oh. Looks like Chad is not too pleased with your description of Dr. Wily.
But anyway, we got RenHero using Flash. Oh, now of course I get a great dragon now. Of course now.
Oh no.
But it's not Metal Weak. It's not Chicken Buster. Going straight to Heat. Probably just overshot it, but it's not Buster anyway, so I'm pretty much out of the running.
Well, trying the air shooter, and it looks to be effective again, although the air shooter having a much more difficult landing pattern with the arc. Charlieboy actually opting out. So both of our runners trying to have a go here. Oh, old reliable for RenHero not working. The crash bomb. Gonna find the air shooter to be mildly effective. Bubble lead's out of there, so I'm out of the running. Oh no!
RenHero!
Oh no!
One of the worst deaths you can take in any part of Mega Man 2, because the checkpoints in Mega Man 2, they are literally brutal. There are no boss checkpoints. You're literally sent back to the checkpoint in the middle of the stage. So
yeah,
RenHero...
Man.
No, go ahead, Frico.
Yeah, this is gonna cost RenHero about 1.5 minutes. Pretty much gift wrapping this run to Charlieboy. Oh, what a shame. I think neither of the runners know the crash wall weakness for as much of the trying of Heatman's crash walls to break through. So they should have the advantage of knowing what it isn't when we come to the refight, or excuse me, right before the refights with the Boo Beam turrets. But I'm surprised Charlieboy did not go for that E-Tank. So he must think he's behind. Unfortunately for RenHero, that is not the case.
Yeah, this definitely has not been the cleaner of games between the two runners. Of course, we find Air Shooter has one of the weaknesses, but not particularly good. I think I saw Charlieboy use Quick on the Dragon, and Quick was much more effective. So technically, RenHero is just wasting even more time using this really slow one-shot Air Shooter, as Charlieboy finds a Buster weak Pico. The luck for Charlieboy in the end game is starting to rise.
Yeah, this is, wow. Charlieboy definitely, doing what he can to run this game back, and now prohibitively in the lead. RenHero just starting Wily 2, as Charlieboy starting Wily 3. So, RenHero's almost 2 minutes behind at this point, as Charlieboy, hopefully does not make the same mistake this time around that he did in the first seed, making it over the jump that plagued him the first time around. RenHero picking up the weapon energy drops, so gonna lose a little bit of time. We'll see if he stops for the wall. Nope. He knows he's behind with that dragon death and opting out of testing the walls and picking up the E-Tank.
Yeah, this was really just an opportunity wasted for RenHero. Charlieboy had a very rough go-around in his beginning stages as he approaches the Guts tank. Wood and Air, his first two chosen masters, were giving him quite a bit of trouble, and RenHero had quite an advantage as we find yet another Buster Week Wily boss in the Guts tank. But RenHero's miscues wound up becoming much greater as time went on, and at this point RenHero literally gift wrapping a victory to Charlieboy, snatching victory from defeat about halfway into the game.
Ooh, RenHero using the Leaf Shield, but opting out, seeing that it was a 2-hit Leaf Shield. RenHero finding the good news with the Buster, though. But yeah, one of the errors was not necessarily RenHero's fault. Picking Crashman's stage, kind of not his fault. I mean, it is a random roulette of sorts, and unfortunately, RenHero kind of crapped out when it came to getting into the Crashman stage without having the benefit of item 1 or 2. Unfortunately, that, coupled with the death to the dragon, is much worse than Charlieboy's earlier mistakes, costing him about 1.5 minutes. So RenHero actually testing the wall, removing another possibility as Charlieboy into the anxiety room, the great equalizer, as some would call it.
And we got a particularly nasty set with Chanky Makers in here, so this could be a little bit of a hindrance, but Charlieboy, being the well-vested knowledge boy he is with the randomizer, he recovers quickly, decides to use item 1 instead of item 2, and he's on his way to the final stretches before his fight with Boo Beam. So the only thing now is need to find the Boo Beam weakness and maybe the wall weakness if necessary. So we know Charlieboy may have an idea what the wall weakness is thanks to his digging through Heatman with those weaknesses. So we're gonna see how quickly Charlieboy finds a weakness, but it's definitely not metal for the Boo Beams. RenHero find the good news with the Buster weakness.
Well, unfortunately, the ideal turret weaknesses are not favorable, but Leaf Shield, the correct answer for the crash walls. Charlieboy now hunting for the Boo Beam turret weakness. I believe he can take 3 hits, so he should be fine. Oh, no, commentator curse be damned at this point, but it looks like Buster.
So we found 3 straight Wily bosses that are Buster weak. What are the odds?
Well, I think we're going to be in store for another one at the end of the next stage as Charlieboy into the refight. This non-Buster weak Wily machine, definitely the exception rather than the rule. Of all the games I've done commentary for, 8 of them so far out of about 45 total have been not weak to the Buster.
All I can say is that shout out to Comment Sending because he would have loved this seed.
Yeah, very true.
Well, except for the Mecha Dragon, but still. All jokes aside, Charlieboy into our refights. Got a little bit of Dustman for our refights music. Just a little bit of trivia for the Wily Stage 5. The music is going to be continuous throughout the entire refights. There is no interruption from the boss themes, so you get to hear the music through its entirety with no interruptions, taking a cue from ROM hacks that have done the same with their refights.
Well, there is a possibility to have DJ Metalman. I believe it's DJ Metalman. When he tries to switch the elevator, which would normally be in his stage, I believe he can change the disc in the machine and change the music. One of the more interesting, how should we call this, interactions with the bosses
I see
in the refight section.
But anyway, we got RenHero digging for the wall weaknesses. Finally comes across Leaf Shield. Charlieboy in a little bit of an issue, but he does finish off Crash before Crash finishes him. He's on his 7th Robot Master in the refights. So Charlieboy, he's still a little bit of a health deficit, but he does have lives, and if he plays his cards right, he probably could have sacrificed a life if things go south with these next 2 boss fights and just takes the death and just starts from scratch. RenHero finding the Buster weak turrets on his side.
Yeah, Charlieboy going to be into the Wily machine while RenHero... Yeah, Charlieboy's committed himself to just taking the L against the Wily machine. Although, if we end up having a Buster weak, that... No, oh wow, number 9 showing up. 2-in-1 race. Wow.
So it's had to pop in the E-Tank, which we actually surprised that he had, but finding Crash Bombs to be very workable and works on both phases. So wow, back to back Buster immune Wily machines, but also back to back Crash weaknesses both phases with good crashes nonetheless. Coincidence?
Yeah, I think you're onto the conspiracy theory here, Creed. Charlieboy into victory road, so about to lock down this 2-0 victory over RenHero. Something's really gonna have to go wrong for Charlieboy, but I think RenHero at this point needs to hope for a giant mistake from Charlieboy. I don't see it happening, but you never know.
It's alright, we have our alien in sight. It's time to go weakness hunting. And it's not Buster this time. So at least our final bosses aren't weak to the Buster, but that is a major annihilation via air shooter. So that's Charlieboy winning match 2 and winning the entire set 2-0 over RenHero as he moves on into the tournament, going round 2 where he's gonna be facing Kame Sennin in the next round. GG's in the chat for Charlieboy.
Yeah, I think it would be a little improper to run back this particular seed just for Kame Sennin, as I believe Charlieboy joining us in the chat.
No, I'm not here.
Alright, so the guy that's imitating Charlieboy, how do you think the CU works out for you for these past 2 runs?
Well, first off, GG's Durin. Awesome runner. Yeah, the seeds, oh man. I mean, the first one was pretty decent. I kind of had a oopsie in Wily 3. That's always fun. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with that one, I think. The second one, however...
Yeah, you kind of fumbled it a little bit with the first 2 stages. You wound up backing out of Wood stage about a minute in, and then Airman kind of gave you a little bit of hassle. Of course, the rest of the siege just pretty much just worked in itself and some of the shenanigans that it's decided to do.
Yeah, I kind of figured if I could make it through Wood to the checkpoint, then I would keep the stage, but yeah, that didn't happen. And I was like, well, this is going to be a lot of damage again. Instead of wasting a lot of time here, I'm just going to go ahead and reset and try my luck elsewhere. And, yeah, I mean, I guess it worked out somewhat. I made it to air second, I think, in the second seed, and then, I don't know, I crashed, or, I mean, crash probably not the right word, seeing that, there's a stage called that, but yeah, I fell in the pit. I think it was, but it was after the checkpoint. I was thinking about rage resetting again. I was like, man, maybe I should just reset and go somewhere else. I'm like, I hit the checkpoint. I'll go ahead and try again. So yeah, I mean, that worked out. I was plus 1 minute and 50 seconds with those 2 stages, and then it looks like I gradually gained a little bit of time here and there everywhere else. I mean,
did you ever consider actually just using the Buster on the Space Monkeys in the Woodman stage?
I did, I think, and then it was they took like multiple hits, and I was just like, not good.
Because RenHero went through that section and just bustered down the Space Monkeys, which I was wanting to make sure I asked you about that, as to why you just had decided to, you know, YOLO your way through and just, okay, I'm gonna take a beating, but you know what, if I can get through, I get through.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I think they took multiple hits, and I figure, you know, if you're not holding forward, you're not winning, right? So, or at least that's, somewhat the idea. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try Flash instead. Yeah, I probably should have just, in retrospect, tried to bust them down a little better, because I remember they weren't too terribly rough for Buster, but at the same time, they were enough to slow me down, so I figured maybe Flash would be the way to go, but yeah, that didn't happen either. GG's to Ben as well.
Speaking of GG's Turin, he eventually finished with a official SRL time of 38 minutes and 36 seconds. So GG's to Ren, who It's not out of it yet. This is still a double elimination, and he's gonna just be sent down to the lower bracket. Speaking of which, RenHero, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Would have liked to have not fallen on that ledge with the dragon, but otherwise, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
done. All the same. Well, that little gaffe aside.
Yeah, it was pretty much the second seed that was just kind of tread both of y'all up in different ways. I mean, we already spoke with Charlieboy. He wound up doing the first stage that you did, Ren, after you found air first. And so here's the situation with the first parts. So Ren, you found air first, opted to reset, and you go wood. Charlieboy found wood first, but he had issues with wood and wound up resetting. He winds up finding air instead. And so, yeah, we had a little bit of a shift with how some of the beginning stuff kind of started out between you two.
Oh,
Yeah.
Polly, one of the things that wind up swinging the tide of the race around is that Ren actually wound up finding Crash a little earlier than you, Charlieboy, because by the time you had gone to Crash, you had your items. Ren didn't have items for Crash, so that's one of the things that kind of thinned the gap between you two, for starters.
yeah. Crash Platform Express. The name is wrong. Express is definitely not part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough to find the items early enough to be able to just like kind of item one through it.
Before moving on to the next subject, how was Heat Stage for the both of you?
How do I put this? It wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. It really wasn't fun. I didn't have item 1 for that second one either, so it's like the second last pillar. How am I gonna get up this with the fan in the way? It was a puzzle.
Yeah, I did have item one at that, but yeah, I mean, like the fans were somewhat annoying, you know, like per the normal. Spanish Inquisition strikes again, hot air, all the yada yada yada, all the standard fanfare when it comes to Fat Boys and in the Heat stage. But I mean, yeah, it wasn't too terrible. I ended up seeing if I could find the volley there, which I don't know if I tried wood shield there or if it just because of the fan it just like didn't work out too well. But I mean, yeah, I just ended up giving up and just I don't want to go over it. But it kind of gave me an idea of I don't think these things are weak to the wall or the wall's weak to these things. So that kind of helped at the end or in the stage.
Right, I kind of had the same mentality. Try what you have. Nothing works. Okay, you have less things to try later on.
Yeah, I might or might not have double tried things, you know. I mean, as far as randos go, I've played so many that it's just like I forget sometimes. Like I try to hold on to it, but like depending on how rough the seed is and how like, you know, how much I don't know, stress it would it be? Question mark. You take during the seed, stressful situations. Yeah, I mean, if you can hold on to the information, it's good. But if you can't, then yeah, then you end up double trying things. But I don't know. I mean, it was fun overall, anyways. And yeah, good games to Ren, like as always. Awesome stuff.
For sure, good games, dude. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright, so I have a question for both of you. how do you feel about the next matches that are on the docket for you, respectively? Charlieboy, you will be taking on Kamasenin, if memory serves me correctly. And once we get to the bottom of that great mystery, I'll jump over to you, RenHero, who I believe have a date with the Daggett.
Yeah, I mean, as far as mine goes, yeah, last year I matched up with Kami in the final bracket as well, and I went Buster only for the races, and I guess I caught him on a bad day or something. Perhaps either that or my skill is decent enough to where that I actually ended up coming out on top. I don't expect to do the same this year at all.
Fair enough.
I mean, it'd be great. I mean, I might if I lose a race, then I don't know. Depending on how I feel, I might stick with Buster only. I might not. I might just do any percent, but I don't know. I try to make it fair and fun for Kame as well. So I mean, I'd like to probably end up doing Buster against him, and I have practiced like at least 1 or 2 seeds of Buster only recently.
Well, going back to the first year of this tournament, even though there were zips in that, Kamasenin seemed to be holding his own, even with the runners that were not using his similar Buster-only strategies. So, Kamasenin did make it into the bracket, so, there is some merit to his method, but we'll see. I think you're trying to avoid Prodigy if you end up taking down Kamasenin, being your next opponent after that match, potentially. Is there any truth to that rumor?
Please, I'm not trying to avoid him. You think I'm trying to avoid Prodigy? No way, dude. Like, let me get this right. Let me get this straight. Like, I don't exactly. He does. It is favored towards him, but I mean, I do eke out a race or 2 against him every now and then. So I mean, I'm not scared of it. I'll go in there, my head held high. Come out with my head held high, no matter what.
Fair enough. That's good to know. Got to do something to spice things up here. But
how about Ren versus Daggett? How is that? What about that, Ren? How are you looking forward to that?
Definitely looking forward to that. I think it's got the potential to be a pretty good match. I think it might go to 3. I just need to practice more, and I hope he does the same. And at the end of the day, I just hope that we can put on a good show and everybody likes watching the race.
Well, that's a good way to look at it. So, do you think you have an advantage over Daggett, or do you think he has the advantage over you? In the way of, you say it's time to put in a little bit of practice. Is that a function of, seeing how you were a little lax with the execution in this match, or is it even before this match where you're going, okay, I can still get better?
A little bit of both. I do think that Daggett has a little bit of a heads up over me. I think he's been doing this longer, but I think he's a little bit better than I am. But definitely something, like you said, that I can make up by practicing. Just kind of tidy up the execution, just work through the paces, and hopefully get enough practice in that I feel comfortable before the races.
Fair enough. Well, to Charlieboy and RenHero, good luck to you both in your next matches. Alright, Creed, help me out here. Is there anything else we need to bring up? I'm about out of ammo at this point.
Actually, I think that's it. Right now, we don't have anything scheduled up for our next match in the Mega Man 2 Randomizer tournament. So, for right now, everyone just sit tight and just keep your eye out on SpeedGaming to see when our next tournament match is going to come up. In the meantime, I want to thank SpeedGaming for allowing us to once again present this tournament to everyone. Thank Duckfist for creating the randomizer as always. Charlieboy, you sir, for being our 3-time tournament organizer for this tournament. Glad that you able to get us a little bit of a showcase for what the randomizer is all about.
Yeah, man, no problem. I want to thank Ren. I want to thank you guys for commentating the match. I want to thank Ren for racing against me. Yeah, good luck against Daggett for sure. I mean, with practice or not, you know, I know you've been really busy with your job and stuff lately, and I mean, it's going to be a great race regardless. You know, I mean, you're a great player. I was worried going into this, especially race 2. Whenever I started for lack of better terminology, eating smack and dying. Yeah, like, you know, crashing and burning. How about that? We'll go with that. Yeah, so, like when I started crashing and burning at the beginning of the seed, I was like, yo, this is definitely, and I saw my pace and it said 34XX, and I was like, this is definitely something Ren can do. And I was thinking, isn't your PB like around 32-ish anyway? Didn't you hit a 32 once or twice? Two times?
Like high 33s.
Still, I mean, hey, that's very respectable and competable for sure. You know, I mean, you can still smoke any one of us regardless,
that's
you know.
Basically what I had in mind going into this is like, if I can come within 30 seconds to a minute of my PB during these races, then I think it's a great showing, and I've definitely got a shot.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the more you play, the more solid you'll become. And then everybody has those days where it's like, okay, doesn't matter how much you play, you're not being solid at all. I know I've had them, especially recently. But yeah, good games nonetheless. Good games to you guys. Thanks to SpeedGaming. Thanks to Comms again. Thanks to the viewers for watching. I think I said my piece. So yeah.
All right, I've got a problem here. You've thanked almost everybody under the sun, but one person in particular.
Oh, Chungus, the tracker. I ain't even had to look at who's tracking. Duh.
I was going to do it when Charlieboy was done with his spiel, because what I would like to do was, of course, let everyone follow our runners, Charlieboy and RenHero, who put up a very fun show for you tonight. Of course, if you want to, you can also follow us, and of course, our glorious tracker, 2% Chungus, who is basically our star tracker for this particular year of the tournament. But I think at this point we're pretty much done for this particular segment of the Mega Man 2 randomizer. So, of course, Frico, you have any final words before we shut this thing down?
I think at this point, you know, thank you, Chungus, for being the tracker. Always want to make sure I thank the tracker, the unsung hero of the group. You as well for jumping in on fairly short notice, Creed, to do the commentary with me. Again, without runners, we don't have a race, and without a randomizer, we don't have anything to run. So thank you to Charlieboy, RenHero, and I believe Duckfist, the manufacturer of the randomizer. And again, to Charlieboy for organizing the tournament. With that all said, I think we're done here. So have a good night, everybody.
Yep, for Frico, this is LV Creed, and everyone else that is around the sun, just have a good rest of the day. Take care, everyone.
GG's, guys. Take care.